Chosen one, something sacred is stirring beneath your skin, and it's not your imagination. Lately, you've caught yourself smiling without reason, waking up with energy you haven't felt in over a decade. Your steps are lighter, your thoughts sharper, your laughter louder. But have you stopped to wonder, why now? Why this sudden surge of strength, this magnetic joy that wraps around your mornings like warm sunlight? Why does your reflection look softer, younger, almost as if time has bent in your favor overnight? This isn't just a good week. This is something divine. And you weren't drawn to this message by accident. God is doing something in your body, your spirit, your timeline that defies human logic. Your youth, the fire that once danced in your eyes, is returning. And not because of beauty products or sleep hacks. What if what you're feeling is a spiritual reactivation? What if heaven is rewriting your physical reality because your assignment on earth is far from finished? Drop 777 in the comments if you feel this shift in your bones. If something deep within you knows that this is not coincidence but confirmation. And to those of you who've supported this sacred space through super thanks, I bless you. Your generosity is helping awaken a generation of chosen ones walking in supernatural reversal. You are part of this miracle, and heaven sees your seed. But let me ask you this: why is your skin suddenly glowing without any change in routine? Why do your limbs stretch with a freedom you haven't known since your teenage years? Why does your voice sound lighter, your thoughts move quicker, and your appetite for life return like a wave crashing back to shore? There's something happening beneath the surface, something holy. Your body is no longer responding to the world's aging timeline. It's responding to heaven's divine calendar. And the reversal isn't coming, it's already started. That ache that disappeared, that dream that reawakened, that light that's returned to your eyes, these aren't small things. They are signs. So don't click away. Don't miss this moment. Because what's about to be revealed next will not only explain what's happening to you, it will unlock the next phase of your divine restoration. You were born for such a time as this. And this time, it's not about growing older. It's about growing brighter. God's chosen ones, why are you suddenly feeling like a teenager again? Something divine is stirring in you, chosen one. You may not have words for it yet, but your body has already responded to heaven's decree. Your youth is no longer a memory, it is a current flowing again through your veins, pulsing with new purpose. Can you feel it in your breath, in your stride, in the way your soul has begun to hunger again? Not for escape, but for impact. Why do you suddenly feel lighter, more alive, as if something ancient inside you has awakened? Why are your dreams suddenly flooded with energy you haven't felt since your earliest years? Right now, this very moment, your cells are realigning under divine instruction. This isn't delayed restoration. This is now. The transformation you're undergoing is not cosmetic, and it isn't a placebo. This is the Creator of time bending it for you. The one who said to the prophet Joel, "I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten," Joel 2:25, is fulfilling that same word in your flesh. You aren't just regaining youthfulness, you're stepping into the age of your assignment. When Sarah laughed at the promise of bearing a child in old age, it wasn't because she didn't believe in God. It was because the laws of nature had convinced her otherwise. But nature bows to the voice of the eternal. And just like Sarah, you're about to carry something that the world said was impossible. Could this restoration be a signal that your divine pregnancy, your assignment, your message, your movement is near? Every time you catch your reflection and see something unfamiliar, brighter eyes, stronger features, a glow you didn't apply. It's not just biology, it's prophecy fulfilled in flesh. As Pope John Paul II once said, the future starts today, not tomorrow. His words weren't reserved for world leaders. They speak now to you, because the future of your impact has already begun to bloom in your bloodstream. You are not being preserved to delay death. You are being revived to deliver destiny. You are not the only one who has felt this quickening. In a quiet town, a woman named Daria, a retired nurse who had all but given up on her dreams, woke up one morning with an urge to dance. Not metaphorically. Her knees, once stiff from arthritis, felt fluid again. Within weeks, she joined a local youth ministry, guiding teenagers through healing and forgiveness. She thought her season had ended, but heaven had only just begun writing her next chapter. What if yours is just beginning too? Your reversal is not random, it is purposeful. Could it be that you're being summoned into a fresh battle for the generation rising? Could your renewed energy be the answer to a prayer from someone younger who doesn't yet have the words to cry out? David didn't slay giants because he was young. He was young because he was called to slay giants. The anointing chooses the vessel, then the vessel is strengthened to carry it. You are being readied like the springtime after a brutal winter. Just as snow melts to reveal blooming crocuses beneath, what once felt dormant in you is revealing vitality you thought lost. Why is it that when everything else seems to be aging, your soul is moving in reverse? Why are old wounds healing faster, old desires fading, and new ones emerging in their place? Even Steve Harvey, the comedian and motivational speaker who once hit rock bottom living in his car, said, "Your setback is a setup for your comeback." And what greater comeback is there than a divine reversal of time? Not for vanity, not for applause, but for purpose. You are not just looking younger, you are becoming clearer, sharper, more aligned. And now the evidence is visible. Watch closely. The trembling in your spirit isn't fear, it's the awakening of your second wind. The years the enemy tried to steal are being returned, not just added back, but multiplied with heavenly interest. Every wrinkle softened is a witness. Every surge of unexpected energy is a sign. This is not your body returning to the past. It is your body meeting your prophecy. The reversal has begun. And you are its living proof, and time is not your master, chosen one. The God who sculpted the universe in 6 days does not consult calendars before moving on your behalf. He who dwells in eternity does not age, does not tire, and does not forget. The ticking of earthly clocks cannot measure his pace, and right now he is speaking directly to time, and it is bowing to his voice. Why do you feel younger, lighter, as if a curtain is lifting inside your body? Why is there a new brightness behind your eyes that no mirror can fully capture? This is not nostalgia. This is restoration. The years you thought were sealed behind you, those carefree moments filled with energy, laughter, and creative fire, are not just memories. They are making their way back, infused with wisdom and crowned with purpose. Can you sense it in your joints? That flexibility isn't just physical, it's spiritual. The same God who turned back the sun's shadow for Hezekiah in Isaiah 38:8. "I will make the shadow cast by the sun go back 10 steps," is now turning back the effects of wear and tear in your very being. What the world calls irreversible, heaven is reworking without strain. Elijah, the prophet who outran a chariot by the Spirit of God, didn't defy nature. He cooperated with a greater law. That same law is now operating in you. As the systems of your body receive divine instruction, the impossible is not being undone, it's being redefined. Your hormones are stabilizing, your metabolism quickening, your emotions refining. You aren't being medicated, you're being recalibrated. Could this holy recalibration be preparing you for a task that younger hands once feared to carry? Take, for example, the late Dr. Charles Stanley, the renowned American pastor and founder of In Touch Ministries. Even in his 80s, long past the age when most retire, he preached with fire, clarity, and strength that defied natural decline. Listeners often commented that he looked stronger at 85 than he did at 65. He once said, "Obey God and leave all the consequences to Him." And in that obedience, strength flowed like youth. Why is it that surrender to divine timing so often restores what striving cannot? This isn't myth, and it isn't metaphor. This is the supernatural outpacing the natural. In the foothills of Colorado, a woodworker named Julian, long plagued by chronic fatigue, suddenly felt compelled to begin building again. He thought it would take him weeks to finish one bench. Instead, in 3 days, he completed a dozen. Neighbors came by and asked if he'd hired help. He hadn't. It was the same hands, the same tools, but a new wind was blowing. This renewal is not vanity, it's vitality for vision. Why would God reverse your decay if He wasn't about to launch you into something fresh? Why would He restore your vigor if you weren't meant to walk through open doors others have missed? You aren't simply healing. You're aligning with a reality where age no longer dictates effectiveness. Picture the eagle that molts in old age, shedding heavy feathers to rise once more into higher altitudes. It doesn't return to youth by force, but by surrendering to its God-given rhythm. You are doing the same. You're not pretending to be young. You are re-entering the frequency of divine alignment. Could it be that God isn't just extending your days, but renewing your edge? And now your spirit knows. It senses the shift, even when your logic wrestles with it. This isn't the fountain of youth, it's the frequency of heaven, a rhythm that honors faith over fatigue, where purpose speeds up what age tries to slow down, where restoration replaces erosion, and where your body, soul, and mind begin to hum in harmony with the author of all timelines. You're not aging backward, you're accelerating forward, with the strength of youth and the clarity of heaven. Time for you is not ending. It's being rewritten. But there's something deeper at work in this transformation, chosen one. This isn't just about how you look or feel. This is about what heaven has planned to release through you. The reversal is not the destination, it's the preparation. You are being summoned back into the fullness of strength because your assignment isn't finished. Could the glow that's starting to rise from your skin be heaven's way of confirming your next mission? Could this transformation be a divine signal that your greatest impact is still ahead of you? God is restoring your vessel, not for vanity, but for vision. This renewal is an act of sacred equipping. There are souls who still need your words, structures that only your hands can build, broken spirits that only your story can reach. Like Moses, who was called into his greatest task at 80, your timeline is not behind schedule, it's in alignment. Scripture reminds us in Deuteronomy 34:7, Moses was 120 years old when he died, yet his eyes were not weak nor his strength gone. Is this not proof that the presence of God renews strength beyond the laws of decay? You've felt it, haven't you? That flicker of desire to create again, to teach, to guide, to begin something new. That's not nostalgia, it's a divine invitation. And now, your teenage self is not just a memory frozen in photographs. It is a prophetic promise surfacing through your present. Your skin, your posture, even your voice will soon carry the unmistakable signature of one who has been recommissioned. What if the prime of your life was never behind you, but just being unsealed now? The first thing they'll notice won't be what you say. It will be what you radiate, a glow that cannot be faked, bottled, or bought, a brightness that makes others pause, not because of makeup or miracle creams, but because God Himself is dwelling visibly within your being. Your skin, the very covering of your soul, is becoming the testimony. It's no longer hiding you, it's revealing Him. The artist Makoto Fujimura, A Japanese-American painter known for blending fine art with faith once said, "Beauty is a reminder of eternity breaking into the now." When he survived a deep personal crisis, he returned to his work with renewed energy and found his paintings carried more light than ever before. His glow came not from technique, but from restoration. What if the beauty emerging from you is not just skin deep, but spirit wide? Your skin is the largest organ of your body. It responds to internal change faster than most systems. It reacts to fear, joy, inflammation, and peace. So imagine what happens when the presence of God touches your cells, not just metaphorically, but literally. When the Creator reprograms your biology with joy, order, and vitality, the skin is the first to testify. Could your radiance be the first whisper of something greater breaking through? In southern Italy, a woman named Lucia, who had battled chronic skin conditions for decades, began attending midnight prayer vigils after a deep personal loss. After months in intercession, friends began to notice something strange. Her skin, once marked by scarring and inflammation, appeared visibly renewed. Doctors could not explain it, but Lucia knew. Her skin wasn't reacting to medicine. It was responding to mercy. This isn't random, it's divine rhythm. The dullness, the dryness, the fine lines, they're all being replaced, not because you earned it, but because you aligned with heaven's movement. You are stepping back into the softness of youth, not through striving, but surrender. Could the radiance now rising on your face be the same light that Moses carried when he came down from Mount Sinai? Visualize the petals of a flower after spring rain. No human hand polished them, no machine crafted their velvet smoothness. Their beauty is the natural outcome of the right season, meeting the right root. That's you now. You're not being artificially remade, you're blossoming from within. This glow is not a trend, it's a testimony, and every cell in your body now carries evidence of the holy work underway. They'll stare, chosen one. They'll squint, trying to place what changed. They'll tilt their heads, wondering if it's makeup, diet, surgery, anything they can name in the natural, but they won't have the language for what's really happening. How could they? The supernatural doesn't speak in earthly terms, but it leaves evidence, and your face is becoming undeniable proof. Why does your skin seem to glow in rooms dimly lit? Why do people turn to you in crowded places, as if drawn by something beyond you? They will ask what you've done differently, but the truth is, you haven't added anything to yourself. You've returned to the original design. That glow isn't vanity, it's visible victory. Your body is syncing with heaven's blueprint, and your reflection is finally catching up to your identity. Every sunrise will now carry with it the thrill of new discovery. Your cheeks will rise without effort. The puffiness that once marked weariness will dissolve. The spark in your eyes will no longer flicker, it will blaze. The psalmist wrote, "Your youth is renewed like the eagles." Psalm 103 verse 5. And now that promise is manifesting in your face, not just in skin tone or softness, but in structure. Could it be that your facial features are being brought back to their divine setting, that your very bone structure is being subtly refined by the one who shaped you in the secret place? Why do your expressions feel more vibrant, your smile more alive, your countenance more magnetic? Consider the story of Corrie ten Boom, the Dutch Christian who survived the horrors of a concentration camp during World War II. In her later years, despite her trauma and age, those who met her often remarked that her face shone like someone lit from within. She once said, "There is no pit so deep that God's love is not deeper still." Her glow was not born from ease, but from encounter. Could yours be the same? A glow carved by fire, not flattery. And it's not only saints and survivors. In a quiet suburb of Atlanta, a young widow named Helena found herself aging rapidly from grief after the loss of her husband. But after months of sitting daily in scripture, declaring promises over her body and mind, people began to comment that she looked younger. Her jawline returned. Her eyes sparkled again. When asked her secret, she simply said, "I let God hold my face." What if heaven is holding yours now? Your face, the most expressive and intimate part of your being, is becoming a scroll for others to read. Not a story of time lost, but of time redeemed. Why is it that the part of you most visible to the world is also the first to reveal divine restoration? Could it be that God chose your face to speak silently what words cannot? The mirror isn't lying, it's changing languages. It no longer repeats the narrative of age, gravity, and wear. It reflects alignment with the eternal. Theologian and philosopher G.K. Chesterton once wrote, "At the back of our brains, there is a forgotten blaze or burst of astonishment at our own existence. That astonishment is returning to your eyes. Each glance in the mirror will become less of a critique and more of a revelation. And soon you'll begin to notice cheekbones lifting, eye whites brightening, jawlines drawing tighter like ropes being pulled into new formation. These aren't cosmetic illusions, they're physical confirmations of spiritual shifts. Watch a river smooth the face of stone over centuries, and then imagine that same force accelerating inside you, cleansing, shaping, brightening. You are being refined not by human hand, but by holy rhythm. Could it be that heaven has chosen your face to become a living signature of what alignment truly looks like? Every new line softened, every dull hue brightened, is a signpost. The world will see beauty, but the Spirit will see redemption. What was sagging now sings. What was tired now testifies. And what the enemy tried to use as evidence of decline, God has turned into the proof of your revival. Your countenance isn't merely shifting, it's prophesying. Each time you pass a mirror, it's not just your image staring back, it's your future. Your very face has become a declaration of what God is doing behind the scenes. You'll find yourself smiling more, not because you're trying to appear joyful, but because joy has found a permanent residence within. You'll see peace resting in your own eyes, not as a fleeting feeling, but as an anchor. Your posture will carry a quiet confidence that invites others to draw near. Why do people feel safe around you without knowing why? Why are strangers suddenly opening their hearts in your presence? It's because you are walking in a divine aesthetic, a face and form shaped not by culture or cosmetics, but by covenant. This is not the result of Botox or beauty products. This is the outcome of alignment. You are being molded by truth, not time. You're stepping into a sacred symmetry where identity and image are no longer in conflict. Could your glow be the visible echo of a deeper revelation, that you are exactly who God imagined before you were born? Remember the feeling of waking up as a child, stretching long without cracking joints, bouncing out of bed, sprinting barefoot across the yard without any ache in your bones. That innocence of movement, that unconscious freedom, it's not lost. It was preserved, and now it's returning. Right now, as you read these words, your joints are loosening. Your spine is lifting with new grace. Your muscles, once compressed by stress and time, are breathing again. In the book of Luke, Jesus healed a woman who had been bent over for 18 years. The text says, immediately she straightened up and praised God, Luke 13:13. That wasn't just about spinal health. It was about dignity. Could it be that your posture is being restored because your authority is being reawakened? The change isn't just physical, it's neurological. Your brain is receiving new signals. It's safe now. You don't have to brace yourself anymore. You don't have to flinch inwardly. You're being allowed to feel young again, not just in your joints, but in your imagination. Isn't it interesting that your muscles remember what joy felt like? That your nerves still know how to dance, how to run, how to leap? Jane Goodall, the world-renowned primatologist, once said, "What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make." Even in her later years, she walked jungles, climbed forest paths, and spoke with fierce clarity, because her calling gave her movement. You are the same. This restoration is not random. It is functional. You are being refitted for your destiny. In the hills of Quebec, a man named Andre, once a professional violinist, had to stop performing after a neck injury paralyzed part of his arm. But after years in silence and one night of intercession where he felt heat flow from his neck to his fingers, he tried to play again. To his shock, the muscles obeyed. Within weeks, he returned to music. It wasn't just a healing, it was a commissioning. Could your flexibility be returning because your melody must still be played? This divine reversal is flowing from spirit to body, from identity to anatomy. It's as if every part of you is remembering its divine choreography. Your muscles are moving like they were designed for purpose, not pain. Why would God give you this grace if you were meant to stay still? Why would He awaken your limbs if your path didn't require dancing, building, reaching, climbing? Visualize a stream frozen by winter, now cracking, breaking, and flowing freely again as spring warms the earth. You are that stream. What once felt locked inside you is moving again. Your body is not betraying you. It's testifying, declaring that you're not finished, not forgotten, not fragile. You are being reanimated by heaven's breath. And as this new freedom floods your limbs, it won't stop there. That same movement will awaken your soul. Your flow will return, not just in motion but in clarity, not just in flexibility but in faith. You were not made for restriction, you were fashioned to flow. And now that the Spirit has declared you free, every bone, every muscle, every step will echo with purpose. You're not just regaining movement, chosen one, you're regaining momentum. And momentum is spiritual, the kind of forward thrust that doesn't just push you through the day, but propels you into destiny. You're about to rise with a charge in your bones, a silent hum under your skin, not anxiety, not adrenaline, but a holy current. Have you noticed the way your legs twitch at night, like they're eager to go somewhere new? Have your lungs begun to expand deeper, as if they're drawing breath from a higher realm? That's not just your body recovering, that's your frame aligning with divine vitality. The fog is lifting, your thoughts are sharpening, reflexes are quickening. Why does your mind suddenly feel lighter, like a room where all the windows have been opened? Why is the heaviness that once sat in your chest dissolving like mist under morning light? It's because heaven is refueling you, not emotionally, but biologically. This isn't hype, it's holy design. When Elijah fled into the wilderness, ready to give up, an angel touched him and said, "Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you." 1 Kings 19:7. After that meal, Scripture tells us he went on to walk 40 days and 40 nights. That wasn't just about bread, it was about a divine recharge. Could it be that what's surging in you now is the strength for the next 40 days of your purpose? Fatigue used to be your rhythm. Waking up tired, dragging yourself through afternoons, dreading the weight of even minor tasks. But that's over. That season has been sealed off. You're stepping into a sustained, stable, supernatural energy. This is not a temporary high. This is a new baseline. Why? Because your cells have received new instruction. You're not just catching your breath. You've been assigned new oxygen. Brother Lawrence, the 17th century monk known for his quiet spiritual discipline, once wrote about finding divine strength in daily tasks. Though elderly and often in pain, he swept floors with such grace that visitors mistook him for a young man. He once said, "We ought not to be weary of doing little things for the love of God." His secret? He wasn't relying on muscle. He was tapping into momentum born of presence. What if that same quiet fire is being stirred within you? And you're not alone. In the northern coast of Portugal, a man named Marco had spent over a decade feeling like a shell of his former self. Low energy, no drive, frequent illness. But after praying for healing and changing nothing externally, something inside him simply switched. He began waking early. His voice returned with boldness. He took long walks again and eventually founded a youth center that mentors at-risk boys. His testimony: God didn't just heal me, He rebooted me. This isn't about just having energy for errands. This is about divine stamina for divine assignments. And when your energy returns, your joy does too. You'll laugh in places where you once cried. You'll accept invitations that used to drain you and return from them refreshed. Why are you suddenly drawn to things you used to avoid? Why is your enthusiasm no longer artificial but authentic? The joy of the Lord is becoming your strength again, and this time it's not tied to hype, it's rooted in clarity. Not only are you going to dance again, but you're going to dance without fear of tomorrow. Not only will you tackle the work ahead, you'll dominate it, and you'll do it with the same untamed fire you carried at 17, but now sharpened with maturity, humility, and heaven's strategy. Imagine a dormant volcano, long quiet, assumed extinct, beginning to hum from deep within the earth. The pressure is building, but it's not destructive, it's directional. What's rising in you isn't chaos, it's capacity. You're not just being renewed, you're being reignited, and the world will feel your tremor. You're about to become a walking mystery, chosen one. There's a shift happening in your countenance so profound, so radiant, that people won't know how to explain it. They'll glance, look again, and pause, caught between familiarity and awe. Something in them will hesitate before speaking, unsure whether they've met you before or if they're standing in front of someone entirely new. Why does your presence now linger, even after you leave a room? Why does your silence feel more powerful than someone else's shouting? What they're seeing is not just a younger version of you, it's the true you, the radiant, restored, reformed version that heaven always intended. You won't need to explain it. You won't need to justify it. Your transformation will announce itself louder than any introduction. Your skin will seem to shimmer with vitality. Your eyes will glow with a focused flame. Your very presence will carry weight, not the weight of burden, but of authority. It will confound some, it will inspire others, but none will walk away untouched. They'll whisper, stare, and wonder, because the natural cannot ignore the supernatural. The disciples on the road to Emmaus didn't recognize Jesus at first, even though he walked right beside them. But their eyes were opened and they recognized him. Luke 24:31. Something in you is now carrying that same unexplainable power. Could it be that people won't recognize you because you've stepped into the glorified version of your calling? You are glowing with purpose, not pride, and that distinction changes everything. This isn't beauty that demands attention, it's glory that draws hearts. Why do people suddenly open up in your presence? Why do even strangers feel safe enough to cry when you speak? It's because you're becoming a living altar, one that draws not to self, but to spirit. Mother Teresa, a woman of tiny stature but giant impact, often said, "Let no one ever come to you without leaving better and happier." Though she never sought beauty, those who met her described an inexplicable brightness in her eyes. That glow wasn't from comfort or cosmetics. It was from communion. What if your glow now bears that same origin, born not from ambition, but intimacy with God? In a coastal town in Greece, a woman named Sophia spent years hiding behind scarves and sunglasses after a severe burn accident. But after encountering God during a retreat, she found herself removing the scarves, not out of defiance, but healing. Her skin still bore marks, but her spirit did not. People began approaching her, not with pity, but with reverence. They sensed something holy. One girl even said, "You look like someone who's been with God." Could your presence now carry that same kind of awe? You are not a billboard, you are a beacon. The glow you carry isn't for applause, it's for alignment. And the beauty of this transformation is that it doesn't stop with you. You're drawing people, not just to your face, but to your faith. You are a signpost, pointing upward. Your skin speaks of redemption. Your eyes reflect revelation. Your body has become a testimony in motion. Think of a sunflower turning its face to the light, effortlessly, instinctively. It doesn't strive, it just aligns, and in that alignment it becomes something that stops others in their tracks. You are that now. You're no longer trying to be noticed. You're simply becoming who you were always meant to be, and the world can't help but notice. You are now the evidence that miracles still happen. You are proof that heaven still touches earth, not in concept, but in form. When people look at you, they won't just see transformation, they'll feel it. And the most beautiful part of it all? They won't leave talking about you. They'll leave searching for the God behind your glow. Have you noticed your voice softening lately? Not just in volume, but in vibration. It's not a coincidence. Something sacred is being restored. Your voice is undergoing a divine reversion, gently returning to the tone, pitch, and cadence of youthful confidence. The cracks are healing. The strain is dissolving. Why does your laughter suddenly sound clearer, less guarded, more spontaneous? Why do people now pause and listen when you speak? It's because your voice is no longer just sound. It's signal, a reflection of your inner transformation. Scripture says in Proverbs 31:26, "She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue." That's now becoming true of you. Your voice has authority, but it's wrapped in grace. It's not coming from performance, but from peace. Could it be that your words are beginning to carry healing simply because they originate from healing? Your laughter is different too, not forced, not reactive, but anchored. It bubbles up from somewhere deep, born not from relief, but renewal. Your cheeks lift not just from joy, but from recognition that what you carry now is real, that you're no longer bracing yourself for pain between each laugh. Why does your smile feel like sunlight on others now? Why are people mirroring your joy before they even know your name? C.S. Lewis, the great theologian and author of the Chronicles of Narnia, once wrote, "Joy is the serious business of heaven." He understood that joy wasn't silly or shallow, it was sacred. In his own journey from atheism to deep faith, his friends noted how his stern demeanor softened. He began to smile often, laugh easily. His voice changed. Could your laughter now be participating in that same holy business? Even your smile has become a sermon, no longer strained, no longer hidden beneath fatigue or shame. It's relaxed, radiant, magnetic. The muscles in your face are now cooperating with grace. You're not faking anything. You're flowing in something. Your joy isn't an accessory. It's become your atmosphere. In Cape Town, South Africa, a former political activist named Thandi spent years in grief after imprisonment during the apartheid regime. Her voice became hoarse from shouting, her face hardened by sorrow. But after years in quiet prayer, something shifted. Her smile returned, not as a performance, but as prophecy. Children on the street began calling her Mama Sunshine, not because she preached, but because her very presence preached. Is your smile now speaking even before your words arrive? And your walk, yes, even that, is prophesying. It's changed. There's weight in your stride, but none in your shoulders. You move like someone who just shed 100 pounds of spiritual debris. Your spine is upright. Your gait is steady. You're no longer rushing to escape your past. You're walking directly into your promise. Why does your movement feel so free now? Why do you no longer flinch under pressure? When Peter stepped out of the boat onto water, it wasn't just a step of faith. It was a transformation of motion. He walked differently because he was walking towards something divine. So are you. You're no longer dragging yourself forward. You're advancing with clarity, confidence, conviction. Picture a gazelle, once trapped, now released into the wild, bounding not out of fear but freedom. That's you. Your rhythm is returning. Your movement is music again. You are stepping in time with heaven's pace, and others will begin to follow your lead without even knowing why. You're not just sounding different, you're becoming a sound. Your life is now a frequency tuned to heaven, restoring, resetting, reviving everyone it touches. And the most powerful part of all, you're not even trying, you're simply becoming. The world won't just see it, chosen one, they'll feel it. Even if they can't articulate it, their spirit will recognize the shift taking place within you. Something extraordinary is being rebalanced in your body. The very systems that once felt unruly, your hormones, your chemistry, your emotional states, are now bowing to a higher alignment. Could the peace you're starting to feel in your chest be more than emotional? Could it be physical, cellular, spiritual, all at once? This isn't surface level, this is soul deep. The divine reversal you're undergoing is not just a change of appearance, it's a full recalibration. It's both scientific and sacred. Your nervous system, your endocrine pathways, the chemical messengers that govern mood, energy, and metabolism, they're all receiving new instruction from the designer of your frame. Why is your sleep improving without effort? Why is your mind clearer even when circumstances haven't changed? Scripture tells us in Psalm 139, verse 14, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made, and now that wonder is awakening within you again. Your body isn't being bypassed in this miracle, it's being targeted. Why? Because heaven never half heals. What's taking place in you now is total, from the inner cells to the outer glow, from invisible systems to public transformation. The woman with the issue of blood in Mark 5 had spent everything on doctors, yet was instantly healed the moment she touched Jesus' garment. But it wasn't just her bleeding that stopped. It was her entire body that received restoration. Jesus said, "Power has gone out from me." Could that same divine voltage now be flowing through your hormonal systems, your glands, your cellular memory? This is not vague or mystical. This is specific, intelligent, divine rewiring. Your body has not forgotten what youth felt like. It remembers vitality, balance, flow, and now, under divine instruction, it's returning to that original set point. Hormones like serotonin, melatonin, oxytocin, yes, even testosterone and estrogen are all recalibrating, not by pharmaceutical intervention, but by sacred command. You are becoming the living contradiction of science's predictions and faith's proclamations. Dr. Caroline Leaf, a cognitive neuroscientist and devout Christian, has spent decades studying the relationship between thought, faith, and biology. She once said, "You are not a victim of your biology. You are a co-creator with God." Her research revealed that belief itself changes brain chemistry. And in your case, divine belief is changing everything. What if the power of agreement with heaven is reshaping the very chemistry of your bloodstream? In the vineyards of northern Spain, a young man named Mateo once battled severe hormonal imbalances that left him chronically fatigued and emotionally unstable. After years of medication and no improvement, he began daily communion and meditating on healing scriptures. Within months, his energy surged, his sleep deepened, his face softened. Doctors were stunned, but Mateo wasn't. "My body just remembered the touch of God," he said. Could your cells now be remembering the same touch? You'll soon notice more peace in your mornings, more focus in your work, more stamina in your routines. Not because you've changed your habits, but because heaven has changed your chemistry. You're not becoming someone else. You're returning to who you were before stress, trauma, and time distorted your rhythm. Why does your energy feel natural again? Why does your focus feel effortless? This isn't random. It's not chaotic. It's orchestration at the highest level. Like a symphony, every part of your being is responding to the conductor's baton. Your cells are finding tempo. Your breath is falling in line with divine cadence. You are not being remade, you are being remembered, restored, and recalibrated to reflect the glory that was always embedded in you. Think of the tides, how they rise and fall, not by accident, but by gravitational pull under divine design. Your body is just as responsive to heaven's command. You are not broken, you are beautifully timed. And now, as the rhythm of heaven takes over, your body will not resist, it will rejoice. Your restoration is not random, it's intelligent, chosen one. You're not simply getting younger, you are being recalibrated at a divine frequency. Each molecule in your body is responding to the original code God wrote when He formed you in secret. Why are you suddenly more emotionally stable than you've been in years? Why is your confidence growing even though nothing external has changed yet? It's because the shift is happening from the inside out. You are being masterfully renewed, layer by layer, breath by breath. This transformation didn't begin in your skin. It didn't even begin in your bloodstream. It began in your soul. Long before symptoms disappeared or radiance returned, your soul received the order: return to original design. Return to who you truly are, not who time shaped, not who trauma sculpted, but who heaven ordained. Could it be that your soul always carried your true age, the divine age, and now it's leading everything else back into sync? The prophet Jeremiah was told, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." Jeremiah 1:5. That knowing was not abstract, it was detailed, specific. Your soul has always remembered the blueprint, and now it's sending signals. Not to slow down, not to give in, but to revive, restore, and realign with the timeline that heaven authored before your first breath. Your body has no choice but to obey. Why are the aches you once accepted as permanent now fading quietly? Why is movement returning to places you thought were stuck? Your body is responding to the soul's leadership under divine authority. Pain is no longer in charge. Fatigue no longer governs. Your systems are surrendering, not to aging, but to alignment. This isn't just health, it's holiness. This isn't just rejuvenation, it's redirection. You're no longer chasing the clock is adjusting to your call. Consider the moment when Lazarus came forth from the tomb. Jesus didn't lay hands on him, He called him, and that call, "Lazarus, come forth," overrode every cellular reality of death and decay. That same call is echoing through your body. The aches, the lethargy, the cycles of depletion, they are all hearing that call and obeying. You are not bound to natural progression. You are answering a higher summons. Pastor A.R. Bernard, a respected theologian and leader in New York City, once said, "Your soul is the fingerprint of your identity." He described how people could change careers, environments, even names. But until the soul is aligned, peace never comes. What if your peace is returning now because your soul is finally being heard again? In a quiet village near Dublin, a woman named Elin spent years battling chronic illness and early signs of dementia. Doctors said it was irreversible, but during one night of worship, something inside her broke open. She began journaling again, reading aloud again. Weeks later, her blood work improved. Her voice regained tone. She said, "It's as if my body remembered who I am." Could that be what's happening in you now? A holy remembering. You're not simply improving, you're realigning. This is not just a physical renewal, it's a prophetic recalibration. You are stepping out of earthly timelines that say energy must fade and youth must disappear. You're stepping into heaven's rhythm, where age bends to assignment and time bows to calling. Could it be that your destiny is too important to fit into the rules of decay? Look at a tree in early spring. Its bark may look old, but beneath the surface sap is rising. Life is being summoned from the roots, and buds appear not because the tree is young, but because the season is divine. You are that tree. Your soul is called upward and your body is answering. This isn't survival. This is sacred synchronization. You are not behind, you are not late, you are right on time with eternity. And now, everything in you, mind, body, spirit, is aligning not with fear, but with the fullness of who you are becoming. Let's be absolutely clear. Chosen one, this is not a surface-level makeover. This is divine regeneration on a cellular, molecular, and spiritual level. Every single part of you is awakening to its original assignment, to live, to thrive, to shine with the image of the one who made you. Why does your body feel like it's humming with new life even before your circumstances change? Why do you suddenly sense clarity in places that once felt cloudy and drained? This is not just a glow-up, it's a resurrection. God did not design your body for slow decay. He designed it to partner with eternal rhythms of renewal. What sin corrupted, heaven is now correcting. What trauma disrupted, grace is now recalibrating. And that restoration is not starting externally, it has begun in the deepest realm of your biology. Mitochondria, telomeres, stem cells. These are the words scientists use to define life's core energy and repair systems. And right now, they are being commanded by heaven, not by medication, but by miracle. They are responding to faith, not just physics. Could it be that your very DNA is remembering Eden? Could the garden God planted in your soul now be pushing outward into your bones, your skin, your chemistry? Scripture tells us in Romans 8:11, if the spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead is living in you, he who raised Christ from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies through his spirit. That spirit is alive in you now. And it's not visiting you, it's indwelling, transforming, reactivating the divine template within. The prophet Ezekiel once watched a valley of dry bones rise into an army, not because they were strong, but because breath entered them. This is your Ezekiel moment. What felt brittle, hollow, depleted is now stirring. What once sagged under disappointment is lifting under destiny. Why does your posture feel straighter, your steps more certain, your presence more commanding? This isn't a reset button, it's a rebirth switch. And the beauty of this process is not just in how you'll look, it's how invincible in purpose you'll feel. Not prideful, not reckless, but unyielding in calling. You're no longer functioning with depleted energy, you are operating in overflow. Why does your body feel more stable while your spirit feels on fire? Jackie Hill Perry, poet, preacher, and author, once said, "Holiness is not about behavior modification, it's about heart transformation. And when the heart is transformed, the body follows." She speaks openly about how deliverance in the soul reordered her desires, posture, and confidence. What if your renewed confidence is coming not from what changed around you, but from what God just healed within? In the mountains of Montana, a man named Elias had spent years in silence after the death of his wife. His spine had begun to curve from grief, his voice nearly disappeared. But after encountering God through a song he hadn't heard since his wedding day, he began to sing again. And as he sang, he stood straighter. His voice returned. His doctor told him, "Whatever therapy you're using, keep doing it." But Elias said, "This isn't therapy. This is remembrance." Could your posture now be echoing a healing song from heaven? Your confidence is not a mood or personality type. It is a spiritual force, one that once grew quiet under the weight of disappointment, but now, like coals beneath ash, it is reigniting. You remember, don't you? That fire you carried as a teenager, that unshakable belief that anything was possible. That wasn't immaturity, that was prophecy. And it's been waiting for this moment to reignite in you. You'll feel it in your posture first, shoulders back, chin up, gaze leveled. Then in your voice, firm, clear, vibrant. Then in your decisions, quick, bold, unapologetic. Why are you no longer hesitating when opportunity knocks? Why is fear stepping aside before you even enter the room? You're not shrinking anymore. You are standing in holy confidence, the kind that terrifies the spirits of doubt and dismantles delay. You're not just walking taller, you are walking prophetic, and everything around you will adjust to the sound of your steps. The rising of the sun does not apologize for its brilliance. It simply ascends, and everything under it adjusts. That's you now. No longer asking for permission, no longer waiting for confirmation. You've been renewed at the atomic level, and now the evidence will radiate through every step, every word, every breath. And this time, chosen one, it's not naive youthfulness returning, it's heaven-infused assurance, the kind of clarity that only comes from fire-tested faith. You are not just young again, you are wise. You know who you are, you know whose you are, and you know with unwavering certainty what you were born to do. Why does your inner compass feel steadier than ever? Why are you no longer questioning the path, but quickening your pace? This confidence doesn't come from a younger face in the mirror. It comes from the unveiling of your original self, the one God authored before the pressures of life distorted your frame. You won't need another year to grow into it. You won't need a decade to recalibrate. When God moves, he moves in suddenlies, and your suddenly is now. Why would heaven wait when your spirit is finally aligned? One morning soon, you will wake up and gasp, not from fear, but from reverence. You'll touch your face or stretch your limbs and realize something shifted. What was once stiff is soft again. What sagged now lifts. What dragged now dances. This is not hype. This is holy timing. Could it be that your body is now catching up to the prophecy already alive in your soul? It's the same way the Red Sea split, not after a long battle, but in one divine moment. When God told Moses to stretch his staff, everything changed in a single command. That is the hour you're living in. Could your transformation now be waiting not on your effort, but on your expectation? You've entered a sacred threshold, the point in your destiny where divine acceleration kicks in. Years of slow decay will be reversed in mere days. Cycles of stagnation will shatter like glass. What once felt delayed is now doubling back with divine speed. When God says now, delay dies. When heaven releases the upgraded version of you, no force in hell or earth can halt it. T.D. Jakes, world-renowned bishop and speaker, once said, "The most dangerous person in the world is someone who has nothing to lose but everything to gain." You are that person now, not because you're reckless, but because you're rooted. Your faith is no longer fragile, it is fuel. And this fuel is not emotional, it's energetic. Could belief itself be the power surging through your veins? In a quiet corner of Sweden, a woman named Linnea lived years in quiet survival after battling an autoimmune disease. One night during communion, she whispered aloud, "I am not dying, I am remembering." That morning her pain was gone. Her hair began to grow back. Her skin glowed. Her journal read, "Faith didn't just give me hope, it rewrote my biology." Could your body now be responding to that same sacred activation? Faith is not passive, it is frequency. The more you believe, not in a distant someday, but in your now inheritance, the faster your body obeys. You're not just thinking differently, you're vibrating differently. Why does everything feel lighter even when nothing changed outwardly? Why does your breath feel easier, your sleep deeper, your smile more alive? Belief is not intellectual agreement, it is spiritual command. And the moment you move from hoping it's possible to knowing it's yours, the reversal accelerates. Faith is your open door, and your body is already walking through it. Like the horizon that shifts from black to gold in a single blink of morning, your moment is coming faster than you think. Expect the overnight. Prepare for the morning when everything looks and feels different. Because that morning is not a metaphor, it's imminent. Every time you declare, "This is happening, chosen one," something sacred responds. Your body does not just hear it, it agrees. The cells listen, the systems align, the muscles shift. This isn't make-believe. This is biological obedience to spiritual authority. Why does your heart feel steadier when you speak life out loud? Why do aches ease and energy rise when you boldly name what God is doing? You are not pretending. You are partnering with promise. You're not forcing transformation through willpower. You are allowing it to flow through faith. Faith is not passive. Faith is signal. And every time you speak what God has said, your body receives it as law. Your physiology begins to echo heaven's decree. So feed your faith. Let your mouth become the pen that writes new code into your biology. Speak it boldly. I am reversing. I am renewing. I am returning to divine youth. Why do things seem to shift faster after you say it out loud? Why does power enter your voice the moment your doubt exits? Faith isn't just the key to this transformation, it's the accelerator. The more you believe, the faster heaven builds. The more you speak it, the quicker your cells obey. This isn't just healing, it's remembrance. A sacred return to your original design. Before the sickness, before the fear, before the heartbreaks and losses that made your body forget its strength, there was always a version of you in God's heart, full of fire, grace, purpose, and fearless pursuit. That version isn't dead, it's simply been buried under layers of survival. But now it's breaking through. Could it be that the real you, the fearless, joyful, purpose-driven you, is being resurrected in this very moment? Your transformation is not about impressing anyone, it's about equipping you for what's next. The call ahead requires stamina, the vision ahead requires strength, the impact ahead requires overflow. Why would God restore you to anything less than your full capacity? The younger version of you is not just about appearance, it's about purity of purpose, clarity of vision, strength of conviction, and boldness without baggage. That version was always meant for greatness, and now heaven is restoring you to that divine blueprint, not as a nostalgic dream, but as your prophetic present tense. Christine Caine, global speaker and founder of anti-trafficking movement at 21, once said, "God is not looking for our perfection, He's looking for our participation." And as she walked through cancer and healing, her strength was restored through declaration and discipline. What if your restoration is not waiting on conditions, but on participation? In a mountain village in Chile, a retired teacher named Lucia had stopped teaching due to severe fatigue and early signs of dementia. But after committing to pray Psalm 103 every morning, He renews your youth like the eagles. Something changed. Her speech returned to full clarity. She began mentoring children in the village again. One parent said, "She looks younger than the teachers at the school." Lucia didn't deny it. She smiled and said, "The word works." Inside every one of your cells is a divine blueprint, a memory of strength, joy, laughter, focus. That memory was never erased, only buried beneath stress, trauma, and time. But now, by the word of God and the power of faith alignment, that blueprint is reawakening. Your biology is responding to your belief. Why is your breath easier today than it was last week? Why does your mind feel clearer, your walk more intentional, your presence more magnetic? It's because you are not aging, you are ascending, you are not declining, you are divinely reversing. Every breath now carries an echo of the eternal. Look to the mountain stream, once blocked by debris, now running freely again. It didn't lose its source, it was just delayed by resistance. You too are returning to flow. The world will stand in awe. They'll watch your radiance increase not from effort, but from essence, not from vanity, but from victory. And when they ask how, you won't point to cosmetics or regimens, you'll point to covenant. You'll say, "This is what happens when the blueprint reawakens, when heaven rewrites your body in the language of purpose." Let me tell you this thing, your DNA is not decaying, it's returning to its original divine design. untainted by the wear of time or the erosion of stress. Yes, science tells us that DNA holds the instructions for life. But what science cannot decode is the spiritual signature God inscribed into those strands. You were not created to wither. You were designed with an embedded rhythm of renewal, an ancient echo of Eden, a pulse of paradise encoded in your very cells. Why do you feel stronger even when you've done less? Why does your recovery feel faster, your clarity sharper, your mood steadier? It's because your divine blueprint is being reawakened, not by accident, but by faith. God didn't just give you a body. He gave you a built-in covenant of restoration, one that now responds to belief, obedience, and spiritual alignment. You're not getting lucky, you're getting activated. This is not coincidence, it's divine cause and effect. Your cells are listening to heaven, your genes are receiving a fresh signal to rebuild, to regenerate, to rise. Could it be that healing is not something you have to chase, but something already written inside you, simply waiting for the key of faith to unlock it? Psalm 107:20 declares, "He sent His word and healed them and delivered them from their destructions." His word is not just a comfort, it is a command to your biology. And right now, every system in your body is rising to obey that word. You are not just getting better, you are being re-scripted from within. The prophet Elisha once laid on a dead child, mouth to mouth, hand to hand, and the boy's body warmed and revived. 2 Kings 4. It wasn't just proximity, it was transference. The life in Elisha activated life in another. What if the Spirit of God within you is now transferring restoration into every fiber of your being? Dr. Francis Collins, the former director of the Human Genome Project and a devout Christian, once said, "The language of God is written in our DNA." As a geneticist and believer, he saw no conflict between science and faith, only confirmation. What if the healing you're now walking in is God simply reading aloud the design He already authored? In a village near Nairobi, a seamstress named Amara had suffered from chronic fatigue and hormonal imbalance for years. After attending a small healing meeting, she began journaling daily declarations over her body. 3 months later, her energy returned, her skin cleared, and her cycle normalized. "I didn't change my food or habits," she said. "I just started speaking to what God already placed inside me." Could your body now be responding in the same way because you finally agreed with what heaven always knew? And as your internal systems realign, your environment will too. The outside always mirrors the inside. Doors you once knocked on will open before you arrive. People will be drawn not just to your face, but to the frequency of youth that flows from your cells. Why does favor now find you with ease? Why are divine opportunities appearing with no effort on your part? This isn't just longevity, this is ascension. Aging belongs to the system of limitation. Ascension belongs to the realm of the spirit. You are not under time, you are walking above it. What you once accepted as inevitable is now being interrupted by an eternal override. The timeline of decay has been cut off. You are now walking in the timeline of divine unfolding. You are not going backward, you are going higher. This is not regression, this is elevation. You are not returning to weakness, you are ascending into divine strength, where youth is not a number, but a supernatural state of readiness. You are no longer bound by what the world says must happen. You are now governed by what God has already declared. Watch a falcon ascend above the storm, not by fighting the wind, but by using it to rise. That is what your body is doing now. You are catching the winds of God's design. You are not aging, you are activating. You are not fading, you are flourishing. This is not fantasy. This is what happens when God breathes on His original blueprint and you say, Amen. This kind of ascension doesn't just affect how you look. It transforms everything. Your thoughts, your breath, your posture, even your ability to dream again. You're seeing the world through a new lens. You're thinking clearer, sleeping deeper, standing taller? Why is your soul no longer burdened by the weight of years past? Why does your inner atmosphere feel lifted, lightened, free? It's because your soul has broken through. You're no longer bowed under the pressure of time. You are soaring above it. The mountaintop is no longer a destination. It's your new home. And from this higher altitude, you begin to see what others cannot. You begin to move with purpose, no longer driven by deadlines, but drawn by destiny. Could this sudden clarity be the view from your heavenly elevation? This transformation is not for ego. It is for assignment. God did not restore your strength just so you could admire your reflection. He's remaking you to lead others up the mountain. Your life will become a lighthouse, your transformation a living sermon. The world desperately needs to witness what it looks like when a child of God defies decay and walks into their preordained glory. You're not just aging in reverse, you're approaching radiance. Each step you take is one closer to God's original timeline, one that didn't begin with a ticking clock, but with an eternal purpose. Why do you feel like your timing is finally right, even though by human standards you should be slowing down? What if I told you your biological clock is no longer the final authority, that the schedule you once obeyed has been overwritten by divine necessity? You're being retimed, not according to your birth year, but your heavenly season. Could this sudden wave of energy be heaven's confirmation that your new season has begun? In the book of Joshua, scripture says, "The sun stood still and delayed going down about a full day." Joshua 10:13. God altered time itself for the sake of purpose, and he is doing it again, not in the sky, but in you. Your metabolism, your immune system, your memory, your hormones, they're no longer running on the metrics of aging. They are under divine recalibration, set to a new rhythm that prioritizes your calling over your chronology. Every beat of your heart, every breath in your lungs, every signal in your brain is now answering to a higher instruction. This is not fantasy, it is fulfillment. You're no longer a product of wear and tear. You're a vessel of divine maintenance and upgrade. Dr. Mark Hyman, a well-known functional medicine doctor and author, often speaks about biological age being reversible through alignment with deeper healing systems in the body. He once said, "We can create health by choice, not chance." But what if, for you, it's even deeper than that? What if heaven isn't just extending your life, but enriching it through supernatural alignment? In Seoul, a violinist named Junho, once retired due to tremors and fatigue, found himself restored after a prayer retreat he nearly skipped. He hadn't played in years, but something in that mountaintop sanctuary shifted. His hands steadied, his mind cleared. Weeks later, he returned to the stage and stunned an audience who thought he was long finished. "It wasn't me returning," he said. "It was God's timing coming to life in me." And that's what's happening in you. You're not only being healed, you're being rewritten. The tempo of your life has changed. Fatigue is leaving. Slowness is giving way to supernatural stride. Your rhythms are no longer governed by age, but by assignment. Even the trees know when spring has arrived. The bark thickens, the sap rises, the branches grow heavy with life. That's you now. You're entering your own spring, not delayed, but divinely timed. Why does the world suddenly feel more alive around you? Why are new connections forming effortlessly? Why do you feel like you have more to offer than ever before? This rewritten clock won't just extend your life, it will enrich it. You'll live not only longer, but louder, with more to give, more to build, more to become. Your best years are not fading in the distance. They are waiting, vibrant, loaded with purpose. In the timeline heaven just rewrote. And now, by faith, you are walking straight into them. Your spirit is not aging. It has never aged. It is eternal, vibrant, and filled with divine force, untouched by the passage of time. And now your spirit is beginning to speak with authority, commanding your flesh to respond. Could it be that the aches and fatigue were never just biological, but the result of your body waiting for your spirit to take leadership again? The truth is, your body has been listening to the world for far too long. It's obeyed voices of exhaustion, conformity, and limitation. But now something sacred is shifting. Your body is tuning into a higher frequency, the voice of the redeemed within. There's a holy dialogue happening in you. Your spirit is declaring, live, rise, heal, shine, and your body is finally beginning to agree. Where there was tension, peace is settling like dew. Where there was heaviness, new strength is rising like the sun. Why does it feel like something inside you has just clicked into place? Why is your body suddenly responding with lightness and life, even without changing your routine? The voice of God inside your spirit is now louder than the voice of culture on your skin. This is not a battle of willpower. It's not mind over matter. It is spirit over biology. You are not denying science. You are redeeming it, restoring it to its original purpose, to serve the glory of God. Could it be that your body was never the enemy, just a tool waiting to be claimed by your divine identity? Scripture tells us in Galatians 5:16, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. But what if walking by the Spirit doesn't just suppress sin, it also activates wholeness? Your body is becoming a servant to your calling, not a slave to the calendar. You are no longer ruled by dates or deadlines. You are led by design, divine design. The prophet Daniel, even in Babylon, refused to defile his body with the king's food, and God honored him with strength and clarity. Daniel 1:15 says, at the end of 10 days they looked healthier and better nourished than any of the young men. Could your consecration now be producing the same visible transformation? Dr. Ben Carson, world-renowned neurosurgeon and former U.S. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, has often spoken about the power of listening to the Spirit in making medical decisions. He once said, God gave us incredible bodies, but even more, He gave us His wisdom to guide them. What if your body is now responding, not just to faith, but to divine wisdom embedded in your spirit? In a quiet neighborhood in Toronto, a woman named Selene battled chronic fatigue and stiffness for years. She tried everything, medications, therapy, diets, but one evening in worship, she felt her spirit speak a phrase with unusual boldness. Command the healing. From that day forward, every morning she began speaking to her joints, her lungs, her skin, declaring strength. Weeks later, her doctors noted reversal in key symptoms. Selene said, I stopped remembering health and started releasing it. As your flesh begins to obey the voice of your spirit, you'll walk with more presence, speak with more purpose, even think with a deeper authority. Why are people suddenly drawn to your words? Why do your movements feel more precise, more powerful? You are no longer governed by what is visible. You are now led by the eternal flame inside you, unshakable, victorious, untouched by time. So many people try to cling to youth by remembering it, but memory is fragile. What God is doing in your body is not recall, it is manifestation. And manifestation is not rooted in wishing. It is the natural outcome of alignment. You're not just reminiscing about who you used to be. You are becoming that radiant, joyful, fearless force again, and more. Why? Because you're no longer just drawing from the past. You're plugged into the source of life itself. This is not nostalgia. It is recreation. Watch how a dormant vineyard, dry and forgotten, bursts into green as soon as the root is watered. The fruit doesn't come from remembering. It comes from reactivation. That's you now. You're not aging. You're awakening. You're not clinging to a former version of yourself. You are rising into the version heaven never stopped believing in. When God breathes youth into your spirit, your body must respond. This is not wishful thinking. It is a spiritual law. What is birthed in the spirit inevitably bears fruit in the physical. That means the power that once felt stuck inside you, those surges of forgotten strength, joy, and purpose, are no longer contained. They're being released into motion. Why do your muscles feel looser before stretching? Why does your voice sound stronger, even when you haven't spoken much? Your muscles are remembering how to move without resistance. Your skin is remembering how to glow without filters. Your mind is remembering how to dream without apology. But this isn't mere memory. It's not nostalgia. It's recreation. Every fiber of your being is yielding to the creative authority of heaven. You're not reliving a second childhood. You are entering a sacred manifestation of destiny. This version of you isn't a copy of who you were. It's the culmination of everything you were always meant to become. Why do you feel like your identity finally fits? Why does your posture feel taller without effort? It's because this isn't memory. It's miracle made visible. In the world, age is a ceiling. In the kingdom, purpose overrides chronology. And now, you are stepping into a season where age holds no sway over your impact. What the world calls too late, God calls perfectly timed. Could it be that the only thing limiting your potential was a number you no longer need to obey? You're not being transformed to impress. You're being restructured to carry power. This renewal is not cosmetic. It is kingdom readiness for impact, for overflow, for divine partnership. This new version of you doesn't ask for permission. It moves with authority. Have you noticed how clarity arrives faster now? How hesitation is fading? That's heaven's fingerprint all over your forward motion. Every time someone says, "You're too old," heaven chuckles and responds by recharging your spirit. That's why stepping into purpose feels like stepping into a new body. This is not emotional adrenaline. It's spiritual acceleration. You're not being fueled by hype. You're being carried by eternity. Why does everything around you feel too small all of a sudden? Why do former limits now feel laughably irrelevant? Dr. Miles Monroe, a renowned preacher and teacher on kingdom purpose, once said, "The wealthiest place on earth is the graveyard, full of unfulfilled potential." But that will never be your story. You are no longer slowing down. You are activating your inheritance. You're not running out of time. You are running into relevance. In São Paulo, a woman named Beatriz had once been a corporate trainer, forced into early retirement due to burnout. For years, she lived quietly, unseen. But after one church service where the pastor declared, "Age cannot disqualify what God has ordained," she wept uncontrollably. 2 months later, she began coaching again, this time for single mothers and at-risk youth. Her words, "I didn't restart my life. I stepped into the one I was born for." Could this be your Beatriz moment? And if you felt heavy, body and soul, know this, that heaviness was never yours to carry. It was the burden of time, and it's lifting now. Why have your shoulders stopped slumping? Why does your walk feel lighter, even after a long day? You're not designed to carry the fear of aging, the anxiety of running out, or the grief of youth lost. Those were never chains from God. They were illusions, and they are breaking even now. As the weight of time leaves, freedom rushes in. You'll breathe deeper, walk freer, and speak with the cadence of someone fully alive. The fog that once hung over your schedule, your bones, and your emotions is evaporating like morning mist. It's not just lightness of body, it's lightness of future. Why does your heart feel expectant again? Why are your mornings beginning with joy instead of dread? Because you're not just being restored, you're being liberated. This is not about going back, this is about going beyond. You are not just regaining strength, you are inheriting power. And with every step, heaven is unveiling the final truth. You're not aging, you're ascending, and your future isn't shrinking, it's shining. The regret, the rush, the haunting pressure to make up for lost time. It's dissolving now under the warmth of God's divine rhythm. Chosen one, you are no longer racing the clock. You're walking with it. Time has stopped being your master and is becoming your servant. Could it be that heaven's calendar just replaced the countdown with a commissioning? Could your past delays now become launching pads? You're not behind. You're not broken. You're becoming exactly who God whispered you'd become when He wrote your name into history. Every hour you thought was wasted is now weighted with purpose. Every day you thought was lost is now part of your testimony. Why do your steps feel lighter yet more intentional? Why is the passage of time no longer a threat but a companion? This transformation is not a glow-up, it's a God-up. What's changing in your appearance isn't about attention, it's about revelation. You are becoming a mirror, reflecting what it looks like when heaven restores a soul, renews a mind, and reprograms biology with divine precision. Just as the woman with the alabaster jar poured out what was costly to mark a moment of eternal significance, you are pouring out your restored being as an offering. Could your radiance now be the oil that breaks the atmosphere for others? Your smile is no longer just an expression, it's a message. Your skin isn't simply smoother, it's soaked in grace. Your posture doesn't just signal confidence, it announces victory. Why do people glance at you twice now, unsure of what changed, but certain that something did? Why are strangers drawn to your stillness, your warmth, your presence? C.C. Winans, gospel singer and spiritual matriarch, once said, "When you worship God in the midst of your pain, He transforms your worship into glory." Her life and voice bear proof that spiritual restoration reflects in physical radiance. She doesn't simply sing, she carries the evidence of joy refined through fire. What if your glow now reflects a song your spirit has finally learned how to sing? In Seville, Spain, a man named Rafael spent 10 years silently battling depression and chronic illness. He lived alone and rarely smiled. But one spring, he began meditating daily on Psalm 126. Those who sow in tears shall reap with songs of joy. A neighbor found him humming one morning in his garden. The roses he once forgot to water were blooming again. "Everything is blooming," he said, "even me." Could it be that your blooming is the sound of your own reaping? You are no longer hiding. You are highlighted by heaven. You're not shrinking to stay safe. You're rising to be seen. Not for fame, for fulfillment. You are becoming a living scroll, a message wrapped in flesh. A story God is telling through every cell of your being. This is not fantasy. This is fulfillment. You're not imagining change. You're embodying it. You're not escaping reality. You're stepping into the superior one. The kingdom reality. Could it be that your appearance now aligns with the realm you've always belonged to? You are not rejecting age. You are rejecting limitation. You are not running from time. You are running with God's pace. When your heart aligns with truth, your body aligns with glory. Revelation always gives birth to transformation. And what you're becoming is not just a new version, it's a divine unveiling. Let them whisper, let them watch, let them wonder. You don't owe anyone a breakdown of your breakthrough. You are not here to explain. You are here to demonstrate. Every strand of hair, every step, every glance is a sermon now. You're not trying to be radiant, you're radiant because truth is shining through you. Somewhere high in the Andes, snowmelt flows down rock to awaken dormant soil, birthing wildflowers no one planted. The world may not understand where your renewal came from, but they'll witness what it produces. You were chosen. This is not random. It is not luck. It is God. You are a sign, a signal, a living answer to someone else's silent question. Can God really restore me? And when they see you, their spirit will whisper, yes, He already has. You weren't called to merely carry a testimony. You were called to become it. You're not just telling people that restoration is possible. You're proving it with every step, every smile, every cell that pulses under divine instruction. Your youth is returning, chosen one, not just for your joy, but for theirs. Could your transformation be the spark that reignites someone else's forgotten faith? Could your radiance be the permission slip others need to believe again? Don't downplay this. Don't disguise what God is doing. You are not stealing glory. You are stewarding it. This is your mantle now, to glow, to radiate, to declare by your very presence that no body is too broken, no soul too weathered, no age too far gone. You are not simply being renewed. You are being anointed to demonstrate that heaven still restores. You are the miracle walking down the street, the prophecy fulfilled in skin and breath, the sign people have prayed for in silence, and you haven't even tasted the best of it yet. Why are strangers pausing when you pass? Why are people looking twice? Not with suspicion, but with hunger. The world isn't just watching you. The world is being invited to follow you into a dimension where age loses authority and restoration becomes reality. Your body is no longer just bone and blood. It is becoming a living temple, a sanctuary consecrated for divine youth and vitality, not because you're chasing beauty, but because God has chosen to inhabit you with His presence. Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 6:19, "Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit?" And now, that truth is not just theological, it's visible. You are being transformed from the inside out, restructured to reflect not decay, but immortality in motion. Could your energy now be evidence of the Spirit rebuilding His house? In the ancient world, temples weren't cold stone. They pulsed with glory. They were places where the sick were healed, where answers descended, where divine activity filled the air. That's who you are now. Why does the atmosphere shift when you enter a room? Why do people feel peace around you before you even speak? You are hosting heaven, and it shows. This is not about vanity, it is victory, radiating through skin and breath and presence. You're not fading, you're filled. Your radiance isn't mere health, it is holiness made visible. As a living temple, you carry the sacred, and as you walk through your days, you'll begin to feel it. Peace where there was panic, joy where sorrow once lived, strength in the places where you thought you'd broken beyond repair. You are not simply aging gracefully, you are ascending gloriously. In a coastal village near Dubrovnik, an elderly artist named Stefan had given up painting due to tremors. One day, after hearing Psalm 92 read aloud in a chapel, "They will still bear fruit in old age, they will stay fresh and green." He went home and picked up a brush. His first stroke was shaky, but his second wasn't. By summer, he was painting again, and his exhibitions returned. Locals said his colors were brighter than ever. He told them, "God didn't restore my hands, He restored my reason to use them." Could your restoration now be connected to an assignment that's just begun? Viola Davis, Academy Award-winning actress and advocate, once said, "You can either leave something for people or leave something in people." You are now doing both. Your transformation is not performance, it's impartation. You are depositing faith everywhere you go. Why do your dreams feel younger than your age? Why are your ideas bolder than ever? Because you've stepped into the space where time bends to purpose. This is where Moses began at 80, where Sarah conceived when her body said no, where Jesus turned death into doorways. This is not fantasy. This is your divine timeline. Could it be that you've never been late? You've simply been preserved for now. The world may try to categorize you, but they cannot contain what's happening. You've become the intersection of time and eternity. You're no longer shaped by age, you're shaping it. The eagle doesn't fear aging because its strength is in its wings, not its years. And like the eagle, you are soaring again, stronger, wiser, higher, not despite your journey, but because of it. You were chosen to be a living sign, a holy disruption to hopelessness. And the world will look at you and say, that must be what heaven looks like when it walks on earth. So now, chosen one, take a breath. Can you feel it? That fire rising quietly in your chest, that clarity returning to your steps, that still, steady realization that you are no longer declining, you are divinely reversing. This wasn't imagination, this wasn't wishful thinking. What you've been sensing in your body, in your spirit, in your atmosphere, it's real, it's holy, and it's happening now. God didn't just restore your youth to make you feel better. He did it to recommission you. You're not just being healed, you're being repositioned for the greatest assignment of your life. The radiance they see in you isn't from cosmetics or genetics, it's from consecration. It's what happens when heaven touches flesh, when purpose rewrites timelines, and when faith becomes frequency. You are living proof that miracles still manifest, that time can bend under divine command, and that the anointing does not age. You've been asking, why do I suddenly feel like a teenager again? And now you know. It's because your soul never forgot the divine blueprint. And now your body is catching up. You are becoming the physical embodiment of restoration prophecy. You are what the world needs to see, a testimony with skin on it. The sign that yes, God still restores the years the locusts have eaten. The evidence that it's never too late to begin again. So now, walk in it boldly. Don't apologize for your glow. Don't hide the shift. You are not being vain, you are being visible. And your visibility is going to wake others up. Just by being who you are, others will remember what they forgot, that God is still able. If this word stirred something in you, if your spirit resonated with the fire of restoration rising again, then don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to know that it's not over for them. Comment below with 777 if you're claiming divine youth, divine strength, and divine timing in your life. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. We're just getting started. To all of you who have supported this message, whether by watching, commenting, or sending us super thanks, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your faith, your prayers, and your presence are part of this rising movement. And finally, I speak this blessing over you. May your cells obey the voice of God. May your days be filled with supernatural vitality. May your dreams be refreshed with youthful fire. May your smile preach before your words ever do. May you walk in strength, radiance, and divine rhythm, for you are not aging. You are ascending. Until next time, stay radiant, stay ready, and stay restored. You are God's chosen one, and this is just the beginning.